Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and I'm going to expose myself today by showing you all the books on my physical TBR. I only allow myself one shelf of physical books that I haven't read yet. This is just to not allow my book buying habits to get me into trouble by buying too many books that I won't read or haven't got round to yet. It's a bit excessive for me right now in terms of I've got double stacked books. For quite a long time it was usually one single row and I would keep to that, but this last year has been quite difficult for me in terms of my reading, so I've fallen by the wayside in terms of books I've managed to read. So I just want to go through all the books on my TBR and get some of your help on what books you think I should prioritise in 2026. I know there's a couple of books in here that I want to highlight to you and make the promise that I will read them next year, because it's a bit ridiculous that I haven't read them yet. However, life happens. I thought this would also be a good opportunity for any of you to share if you've read any of these books yourself and think, Eleanor, that is not a book you're going to enjoy, get rid of it. There's a few books on here that I've had for many years, and although I did have an interest in reading them at some point, or still have a vague interest in reading them now, they aren't usually at the top of my list in terms of what to pick when I'm picking a book to read next. So I might just need some encouragement to pick them up, or tell me just to get rid of them because I'm not going to enjoy it even if I do pick it up. Some of these books I just feel bad about that I've had them for so long and I haven't read them. And this isn't to name and shame anyone who has large TBR collections. That's just not the way I like to approach my reading. I don't like to feel pressure with all the books I have unread. I quite like, I buy a lot of my books secondhand, and I like being able to, when I have a book that I'm really interested in reading, I like being able to just order it then and there secondhand or find a copy and not feel guilty about buying a book in that moment. But I have been feeling that pressure lately, this last year, because I have so many books I haven't prioritised reading. Sorry, I'm quite breathless today. Please excuse that. I also want to apologise for the horrendous lighting again. I know I said that in my last video, but it's 2:30 p.m. on a Saturday, but it's December in Scotland and the lighting's just always going to be horrendous. So I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it. I did hold off for like a week in trying to make this video, but the weather's just been so gloomy that it's just making it really dark during the day. So I have to have the lights on to film even when it is daylight, because it's so overcast that it looks like it's 6 p.m. even when it's not. But the sun will start setting in like 2 hours, so it is what it is. So very sorry, I don't have a ring light or anything like that, and I'm not interested in buying one anytime soon because I've got nowhere to store it. Okay, I've got no rhyme or reason about the order that I'm going to go through all these books. They are kind of all just haphazardly put in here in terms of like just fitting on the shelf, because I will not like spill over into another shelf. That is my hard limit. So I'll just start with the top of the stacks. I have the first 3 manga for the Promised Neverland series. I got these secondhand from Vinted, I think, so I got a really good deal, and I have been interested in picking up more manga, although it's quite intimidating because they're really long series and they're very expensive to buy individually when you can read them so quickly. But I thought I'd give it a wee go and try this when I saw it for such a good deal. I then have The Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. I'm very excited about picking this one up. I really enjoyed Frontier by Grace Curtis, and I think The Floating Hotel will be another sci-fi that I will really enjoy. So there's no rhyme or reason why I haven't picked this up yet. I just haven't. I then have The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Again, most of these I don't have a reason why I've not picked them up. I'm just such a mood reader that I just leave books and don't get to them. I then have books 7, 8 and 9, I believe, in the October Day series by Sean Maguire. I love Sean Maguire, also known as Myra Grant, and I'm trying to read all of their books. This is a really long kind of episodic series, and I am really enjoying it. I do want to prioritise getting to these and finishing the ones that I have so that I can then buy the next in the series. I think there's like 18 in the series now, and this is 7, 8 and 9. I do want to continue on because with the way I am with my memory, if I put them down for too long, I will kind of forget what's going on in the wider arc of the series, and that will discourage me from picking up the books. I'm really enjoying them, and I have been listening to quite a few of them on audiobook as well. So it's just been such a pleasant experience. It's like reading like a TV series, if that makes sense, because they're episodic. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. It's just such an easy world, and I just love Sean Maguire. I have a whole bookshelf over there with just my Sean Maguire Maya Grant shrine. I then have Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. I got this from one of my book boxes from Waypoint Books, and I'm excited to pick this up. I then have Storyland by Amy Jeffs. I picked this up secondhand because it seems like a really good history accounting of like mythology in Britain. I know a lot about Scottish mythology, and I know bits and pieces about Irish mythology and mythology in other countries like Egypt and Rome and things like that. Not Rome, Italy. So I'm interested in reading more about Britain's kind of mythology. I haven't picked up yet. No surprise there. I don't know why I keep saying that. This whole book is me telling you books I haven't picked up yet. So it's obvious that I haven't picked them up yet. Very sorry. I then have Planetfall by Emma Newman. This is another sci-fi. I believe it's a standalone. And yeah, gripping, thoughtful science fiction. It was blurred by Sean Maguire. I want to read this, so I'll get to that at some point. Oops. I then have The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan. I would really encourage everyone that follows me to read some books by Kirsty Logan. She is a brilliant Scottish author, and I really love how she tells stories. They're very, in one way, they're very soft and gentle. Kind of stories are kind of like a fairy tale, but they're always very poignant and have a very kind of like deep emotional element to them. I've read a few of her books and thoroughly enjoyed them and love to support Scottish authors, so The Grace Keepers is on my list. And then I have these two graphic novels, Smashed, I think, and Romania by Jinto Into. This is a Japanese manga graphic novel creator, and he focuses on horror. I've read 3 others of his books up there. I've read Uzumaki, Gairo and Tomi. I think I will try and make a video about his works at some point, but they are horror. And yeah, graphic novels are easier to read sometimes than written text, so I should get to them at some point, but it's getting into such the dark months of the year. Maybe horror's not a good idea when it's so dark and gloomy. But yeah, I'm interested in picking these up. You can tell by the covers that they're horror. Then we have The Show Woman by Emma Cowing. This was bought for my birthday by a close friend of mine, and I'm really excited to read this. This isn't normally something that I would think to pick up, but I believe it's set in Scotland in the Edwardian era about show women, and it's got lots of strong female characters in it. And it's got a bit of a mystery element to it. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a really pretty book, and I'm excited to get to this because it was a wonderful gift. I then have Marvel Meow by Nao Fuji. It's a Marvel kind of graphic novel story. Again, very random. I never would have bought this myself, but my friend had it and was getting rid of it, and they just gave me it. So I'm very thankful for that. But again, I don't read Marvel anything. I hardly watch any Marvel media, but I'll give it a go because it's short and the art's very sweet. And it's cats, and that's why my friend gave it to me, because I'm cat crazy, if you didn't know. I'm actually surprised my cats haven't made an appearance yet in this video, but they're both napping, one in the cat tree over there and one on the sofa over there. So I think I just haven't been making anything sound that interesting right now. If I got plastic out and scrunched some plastic, they might appear. I'll maybe do that at the end. Reward you for your patience with this video. I then, to my shame, have 3 more books in the Temeraire series by Novik. I last year / earlier into this year tried to run a read along of this series with my friend Faye from Books and Chocoholic, and I struggled majorly with this series. Although it's about dragons, it's set historically and has a lot to do with the Napoleonic Wars, and that's just not something that I'm interested in reading about in this kind of format. So I really struggled with this series, and I've been battling a lot with my health, so it wasn't a good time. So I feel very sorry for my friend in that sense. So I still have some of the books because I never ended up finishing the series, so I don't know what to do. I'm in such a dilemma. Will I just read them to finish the series, or do I just give it up as a bad job? Who knows? I will take your feedback. Oh, I have another one of the October Day novels here. Need to try and read more of them. The next book is Anne Rice, The Wolf Gift. I haven't read any Anne Rice myself. I am very interested in reading An Interview with a Vampire. It's a very famous series by Anne Rice that she's very well known for. I love reading vampire books. I have many a vampire series, and I would love to read her kind of interpretation of it because she's quite a classic version. I have tried to read some series that kind of centered werewolves. I am interested in finding them and reading them, but one that I tried a few years ago was absolutely horrendous. So when I saw secondhand The Wolf Gift, I was quite interested and intrigued to pick it up because I'm just interested in paranormal stories, and yeah, the blurb really interested me. It is a really big book though, and I think that's why I haven't picked it up yet. It's like 580 pages, so I think that's why I've just kind of not gravitated towards it yet. I then have Strata by Terry Pratchett. I have read quite a lot of his Discworld novels. This isn't part of the Discworld, but it intrigued me when I saw it. It's not a very long book, it's less than 200 pages, and I really enjoy Terry Pratchett, so I've got this random one. I then have The Flames of Albion by Jean Menes. She is a Scottish author, and she is quite active on YouTube as well. I really wanted to pick up her first kind of published novel. This is her self-published one, that's why it's like an odd size format. I believe this is the first in a series that she's writing. Yeah, it's a fantasy set at a university, I believe, something along that line, and it has dragons, so I do want to pick this up at some point. The format is just a bit strange just because it's self-published. I'm running out of room. You can tell with the way I'm filming this. I'm trying not to do too many edits because it'll take me far too long. I then have Influential by Amara Sage. This is another book, if I'm remembering correctly, that I got from Waypoint Books. It is again not a book I necessarily would have picked up on my own, because just reading the blurb, it's just not something I would have picked up. I believe it's young adult, but that's the beauty of kind of book boxes. Sometimes you get a book that you wouldn't necessarily think to pick up yourself, and I do want to step out my comfort zone and try it. I then have this short story collection. It's the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 1, 1929 to 1964, edited by Robert Silverberg. This is like a short story kind of anthology about science fiction works. It's the greatest science fiction stories of all time, chosen by the members of the Science Fiction Writers of America. So some of the authors include Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, and then so many more. I have started this and I read the first few stories quite a few years ago, but because it's like an anthology with short stories in it, it's not necessarily a book that I would be able to sit down and read from start to finish in one go. Classic science fiction really intrigues me and I really enjoy it, but it can be quite hard to read. Just the language from people writing 80 to 100 years ago is just so different, and I do struggle with it, so I need to read it quite slowly. So I do want to kind of maybe prioritise picking up one of these stories every now and again to get through it. I still have a bookmark in here. I can't even remember when it was that I last picked this up. It has been a couple of years, I believe. But yeah, this is one that I will work through for quite a while because it's short stories. The next book is Look to Windward by Ian M. Banks. This is one of his culture novels from that series. I'm not sure if this is one near the start or if you can read them out of order. I believe, oh, a bookmark's just fallen out. I did start this at some point. I like the idea of reading this series because Ian M. Banks has written a lot and they're a Scottish author, and I think I would be interested in it, but I'll need to give it another go. I might just try to pick it up at the wrong time. I then have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is one that I kind of got caught up in the internet hype for and picked up thinking that I would really enjoy it and try to read it at the time. Word salad, sorry. A kind of gothic fantasy story, I think. It's like set with secret societies, magicians, yeah, an elite society. I do like kind of magicians and things like that, but again, it's another huge book. It's 550 pages. And I know there is a sequel, so I think I'm just a bit intimidated by it. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to enjoy it, but like a lot of these books, I kind of just need to try them and give them a go, and if I DNF them, I DNF them. I then have The Bridge by Ian Banks, another Ian Banks. I don't know what this one's about. I think, yeah, a man lies in a coma after an accident, and he's got no memory, and it's about what's a dream, what's reality, and things like that. So another one I want to pick up. I actually really like the cover. It's quite different. I then have Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Shapiro. I really want to get to this at some point. It's about vampires. I don't know much else about it. I just know that there's quite a few people that I follow online that have read it and really enjoyed it, so I want to pick it up at some point as well. That's why I own it. I then have The Awakening, The Dragonheart Legacy by Nora Roberts. I've only read 2 series by Nora Roberts, and they were both trilogies. She's a very prolific kind of romance writer, but I don't really read her general romance. I only read her kind of fantasy and kind of paranormal fantasy romance series. And the 2 that I have read, one was like post-apocalyptic with like magic, and the other was kind of urban fantasy with like vampires and stuff like that. This one caught my eye because it's dragons, so I would like to pick this up and read that because I do really enjoy the way she writes. I find her very easy to read. Her stories aren't too overly complicated. I like how she writes her characters. I just don't like her general romance. Not to say that I've tried it, but I don't read that genre of books at all. But caught my eye with dragons, so I will pick this up at some point. But again, it's quite a big book for Nora Roberts. But the writing, it's like 500 pages, but the writing is quite large, so I don't know. This might just be what it is for this print. I then have Bloody Rose by Nicholas Ames. I think it's a prequel to Kings of the Wild, and I think that's why I haven't picked it up yet, because I thought it was a sequel. So I was already in the mind of the characters from the Kings of the Wild, but it's a prequel. But I am intrigued by reading it, because I think it follows one of the children of the characters in the other book, and it's a woman, so that's always a fun perspective to read about. So I then have Days Gone Next by Claire Duffy. This is a sequel to Before Again that I have already read, and I got it signed. This is a Glasgow-based author, and I did meet her to get this signed when she did an event at St Anne's Centre. I enjoyed meeting her, and I enjoy kind of the work she does. I've never read her books before, but they are set in Glasgow in Scotland, and she uses a lot of the local language, and it's interesting reading a story where you're talking about places and streets and things that I'm familiar with and I've been to. It's a bit strange. So it's about a young man kind of travelling through time, so it's like there's a time element and there's a bit of romance to it, and yeah, the main character is just a good laugh. She's a bit chaotic, but yeah, it's about like a bit of a murder mystery as well. A lot of time travel elements to it. So yeah, I do need to pick up the sequel. I then have Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I've read 100 pages of this. I have a bookmark in here. And then I put it down. I soft DNF'd it. I just wasn't feeling it. This should be something that I really enjoy, but I just found it quite boring. I read 100 pages and I don't know if anyone's read it and they can tell me if it gets any better. Sorry, my knees are hurting. I'm so unprofessional, I'm very sorry. So I don't know what anyone else thinks about it. It's like a kind of retelling about Beauty and the Beast, I think. There's like magic and things and enchanted woods. So it should be something that I like, but it was just very slow and I just found it a bit boring. So it might just be in the telling of it, it is not quite for me. I have A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. I really can't wait to read this. It's quite like a gruesome horror, but a tale of family, fungus and more than a dash of bloody revenge. It's a queer horror and I think the cover is really beautiful, so I do really hope that I enjoy this when I get to reading it, because I was very excited to hear about this and I bought it straight away, so I just haven't read it yet. I then have The Blackbird Oracle by Deborah Harkness, and I feel quite embarrassed and upset with myself that I haven't read this yet. This is the 5th book in the All Souls series by Deborah Harkness, and there's a TV series on the first 3 books in the series called A Discovery of Witches, and I love this book series. I read them when they first came out and was eagerly anticipating all the releases. I was so excited about this release, and then it came out and I bought it and I haven't read it yet. Again, I've just been really on the struggle bus with reading and my health this last year, but I do really want to read this to kind of continue in that world because I really enjoy it. I then have the monster sized book Battle Royale by Koshin Takayami. Probably haven't pronounced that right. This book is humongous. It's like 630 pages and it is translated from Japanese. So I have tried to physically start reading. However, the first few pages, you're meeting dozens and dozens of characters with Japanese names, and I just got so confused. I did try to continue on by tandem reading while listening to the audiobook, but I just don't think I was in the right headspace to kind of digest it. There's so many characters in this, and I do really want to read it because this Suzanne Collins drew inspiration from this for the Hunger Games. It's a very well loved kind of story in that sense. I do really want to read it, but I just found it really hard. I struggle with a lot of characters in books as well anyway. Even if they are Western names, I struggle. So the fact that they're Japanese names and I don't know how to say them, it just means that they're really hard to stick in my head. Dyslexia! Yay! So I will get around to reading this, I will try again, and I do think listening to the audiobook while physically reading was the way to go. But this book is just so massive. I've had it for a while. I then have The Blighted Stars by Megan O'Keefe, and I believe this is a first in a sci-fi series. I really want to pick this up. This is right up my street. Stranded on a dead planet, forced to ally with her mortal enemy. I just love science fiction so much, so I do really want to pick this up at some point. And again, the covers are just so beautiful. I really like the colours, very pretty. I then have The Chilling Effect by Valerie Valdez. I believe I bought this because I saw Abby of Pellinor read it and really enjoy it. It's a first, and it's like a debut book for this author, and it's the start of a space opera, and there's cats, I think, make an appearance. So yeah, to do with like a kidnapped sister, and yeah, there's cats and space helmets, and I'm like, sold. Need you to say more. Haven't picked up yet, but oh, something fell out. Yes, I believe I actually bought it when I visited Abby in York. The Portal Bookshop is where I bought it, so that card is in here. My memory's mince, I actually forgot. I remembered that it was Abby's encouragement that made me get it. I forgot I actually bought it with her in the same shop. I then have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is one I'm quite embarrassed that I haven't read. I've read a couple of classics over the years, but Frankenstein isn't one of them. But I've got this lovely cloth-bound classic edition, and I do really want to read Frankenstein. Again, if you're at all familiar with me, I really love horror, and this is one of the OG classic horrors written by a woman. So exciting. So I do want to pick this up. I kind of missed the boat about reading it kind of this kind of October Halloweeny time, but I can read this at any time. I just need to do so. But The end is in sight. I then have Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is the first book in a science fiction space opera, and there is a TV series made up about it now. I can't remember what it's called. The Expanse, I think. It's called The Expanse series, so that's what the TV series is called. I really, really do want to read this. I have just been really intimidated by long book series. I haven't been picking up series a lot lately. I'm more so reading standalones or duologies or even trilogies. And this is quite a long space opera, but I love science fiction so much. I do want to read more of the kind of bigger, wider, expansed series. So I do really want to read this as well. But it is a long book and it's the first in a really long series. So I'll get there at some point. I then have Godkiller and Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner. These editions, the covers are so beautiful. I have heard mixed reviews. A lot of people really, really loved Godkiller when it came out, but the more times passed, I've heard other people saying that the series is a bit meh and a bit of a letdown. But I have both books because I got them quite cheaply from The Works. It's a store here in the UK. So I'm not 100% sure. It's like about gods meets a god that she can't kill. I'm very intrigued by it, and it is a duology, so I should read it and then I can make my own decision on whether or not I like it or not. I then have Rhapsodic by Laura Thalasis. My sibling read this whole series quite a few years ago now and enjoyed it. It wasn't anything to rave about, but it was just a good fun kind of read by a self-published author. So I found Rhapsodic secondhand in a physical copy because my sibling read them digitally. And yeah, I am kind of interested in reading it, but because it's kind of a meh kind of self-published series, I could really take or leave this. So if you've got any thoughts about this yourself, you think I should pick it up or read it, I do know a few people have read them and thought they were alright, and other people have read them and been like, this is just a waste of time. Happy to hear your thoughts. I've had it for a year or two now and I haven't picked up. I then have The House Witch and the Enchanting of the Hearth by Delamachri. I was very, very thankfully sent this copy by the publisher, by Penguin, when it was first coming out, and I was really excited. This is like a cosy fantasy. It's quite a long one, but as I have said quite a few times, and I need to shut up about it, my reading has been absolutely ridiculously bad this last year and a half, so I do feel quite bad that they sent me this copy and I haven't read it, and I haven't even thought about picking it up because I just haven't. And it's the first book, and I think there's like another 3 after this, but yeah, it's a cosy fantasy, and there's kings and queens here, and it's about a cook, and it's got food in it and things like that. So yeah, I honestly haven't heard too much about this since it came out. Like I heard a bit of buzz about it when people were receiving copies when it was first kind of published. I'm not sure if it's translated or not. I cannot remember. It's really bad of me. But I haven't heard people talking about it since, so I actually don't know how good it is or what the reception's been. I'll need to look at reviews and see. I then have Strange Magic by Sid Muir. This is another one where I think I saw some reviews about it, thought it looked intriguing, and I added it to my TBR list on the StoryGraph, and then I bought the copy of it when I found it really cheap secondhand. And it's like an Essex Witch Museum mystery. So it does sound really intriguing and it does sound something I'd like, but again, another one that's kind of been under the radar. I've not heard anyone talking about this at all. So I would like to pick it up and read it and form my own opinion, and maybe it'll become a favourite of mine and I can tell everyone else to read it. This is another one I feel really guilty about. This is Ruthless Ends by Katie Wismer. This is the 4th book in the Marionette series. She is a self-published author and she's done so well. The Marionette series is absolutely fantastic and I really enjoyed it. This is the 4th book, came out, I bought it. Again, not been in the right headspace in the last year and a half. I do really want to read this to finish off her 4-book series. I believe she's writing right now a kind of spin-off for a character in this series. So it'll be like a kind of continuation spin-off book for that person. So I would like to read this before that, and then I can say I've finished this series, because I do still recommend this series to lots of people who are looking for really, really well written, witches and vampire kind of romance, but like full of action and set like kind of academy kind of style. I do really recommend it to people, but I feel a bit like a fraud because I haven't read the last book, so this is definitely one that I want to prioritise reading, and then I can put it with the other 3 books that I have. Oh, here's another of the TBR books. So I have 4 of the TBR books. I bought them all secondhand. That's why this is a huge hardback with what they called, dappled edges? Nope. Speckled? No. You know, the funny rough page edges. So I've got 4 books in this series that I haven't read. I feel so bad. I then have Alita Battle Angel Volume 1 by Yukutoru Kishiro. I found this at a church fair like a year ago, and I got it for like 50p. So yeah, I'm not sure how I'll enjoy it, but I thought I'd try. Again, graphic novel, manga, just really well done, and the edition's beautiful. It's in great nick, so I would like to read that. I have Saga Volume 10. I know there's another couple of volumes out now. I read the first 9 sagas when they came out. I think I got halfway through the series and then I was waiting for them to be released, and then they took a hiatus after they released the 9th one, and then the 10th one came out and I did buy it straight away. But it's been a couple of years since this one came out, and then it's been like a good 3 or 4 years since I read the first 9, so I do want to reread those first 9 volumes and then read volume 10, and I think 11 and 12 are out already, so I do want to reread the first 9 and continue on. I just don't think I remember enough to kind of go from scratch without remembering, and I think that might actually make quite a good video to do next year, is rereading it, because I did love reading them at the time, and they're graphic novels, so they're not too challenging to read and get through, so I think that would be quite a fun video to do, and I can catch up. I do have Lock and Key Volume 1 by Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez. I know there's also a TV series adaptation about this that I haven't seen because I don't really watch anything. Again, I like some graphic novels. I picked this up years and years ago now and I haven't read it. I actually don't know how long I've had this and not read it. It's got to be at least 3 or 4 years. Quite a few of the books I've had for quite a few years. And the last book, finally, I have A Study in Scarlet and the Hounds of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in this really beautiful edition. I haven't read any Sherlock Holmes, even though I did enjoy the kind of BBC TV series. But this edition's just so beautiful. I love all the colours and the edging and things. So I do want to read Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if I'll physically read it or if that might be a good one to do via audiobook. But yeah, I do want to read this at some point. This edition is just so beautiful. I think I got it in a second-hand shop. That's my physical TBR. I think that's been like nearly half an hour of me yapping already. I'm going to take a wee pause for a minute, and I'm going to pick out some books I want to prioritise reading in 2026, and I'll be back in a moment. Hello, I'm popping in hours and hours later from finishing filming that video. I started editing it because I had 47 minutes of footage. I'm so sorry. I really hope it's been cut down quite significantly. We'll see how it goes. But to my shame, I forgot to give you the total number of books on my physical TBR. I've just counted them and there is 51. So these shelves can hold a lot more than I anticipated. So I'll be interested to maybe see at the end of 2026 what that number looks like, how many of them are still the same to what is there right now, or if it's a whole new collection of unread books. I'm curious if you made a decent guess about how many you thought there were. Anyway, bye-bye. Okay, I've picked out a few. I have felt this has been a really helpful exercise, just going through all of the books that I have and telling you a little about them, or even just reading the titles, has reminded myself that I do still want to read so many of these books, and it's kind of excited me about my reading in 2026. I do want to focus on a lot of these books. I'd like to really clear out my TBR shelf just so I've got room for buying other books. I haven't been buying books lately. I've just felt too guilty to do it because I have all these books that I want to get to first. So I would like to prioritise in 2026 the following. We've got Planetfall by Emma Newman. That's going to balance, don't know. Then we have The Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. That's not going to work. Can we lean them? Let's lean them. I would then like to really continue on with the October Day series. So this is Chimes at Midnight. I think this is the 7th book. As I was saying earlier, I do have quite a few of this series. So I want to just kind of keep reading them, because if I leave it too long with such a long series, I'll kind of forget what's going on. And I want to just read everything by Seanan McGuire. So I want to continue with this series. I then absolutely must read Ruthless Ends by Katie Wismer so that I can say I finished her series. I also have to read The Blackbird Oracle, the 5th book in the All Souls series, so that I can kind of keep up to date and on top of the story and what's going on. I'm not sure, I've not kept it up to date. I don't know if she's releasing a 6th book in that series or if the 5th is the last one. No idea. But I'd like to just kind of keep going because it is a world I really enjoy. And then I want to read Godkiller and Sunbringer by Hannah Canner because this is a duology and that would be something to just complete and get off my TBR. Hi, Haku. You want to come say hello? Yeah? You gonna say hello to everyone? Yeah? This is Haku, and he's really big. I don't know if you can hear me. He's sitting on the microphone. Are you saying hello? So those are the books I would really like to prioritise in 2026. Go that way. Don't, yeah, thanks. Move your butt. There we go. They're the books I'd really like to prioritise in 2026. Please, please share your thoughts below about other books you think I should prioritise out of the ones I have. Ones that you are familiar with my reading taste and you're like, you would absolutely love this, please, please read it. It might sound not that great, but I know you'll love it, so that I'll bump it up the list and prioritise it. Or on the other side, if there's any here that you're like, you will absolutely not enjoy that, there's no point keeping it here, let me know too and I will get rid of them. Not get rid of them, I will put them to charity or give them away to friends. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry I've been very breathless this whole video. My breathing's an ongoing battle. Thank you for sticking with me for such a long video. I have no idea how I'm going to edit this down to not make it as long as it looks like it's going to be. But I'm really excited about 2026 and what books I've got to read, and I'm hoping that'll kind of invigorate me into my reading again. Because again, I haven't read anything for this last month. Didn't really read anything in November, and we're now a little bit into December and I still haven't really read anything. And I want to, so that's the internal struggle. So yeah, thank you for sticking with me. I will hopefully have another video out before the end of the year, but if I don't, I hope you have a lovely holiday season and good new year, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye bye.